What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to Redemption with Jaden. Before we get into today's deck and game, I have one question for you all. And that is, are you ready to combo? We got a combo deck for you guys this week in round 1 of Lackey Grand Prix number 15, which is going to be up against Jay Chambers. I will be playing Jay Chambers. So I know what some of you might be thinking already. Come on, Jaden, you're going up against Jay. This isn't time to mess around with some, alleged combo deck or something that's, a little more janky or not as well thought out. And I will agree with you to some degree. When I saw that my first round opponent was going to be Jay, I was like, oh, I was really looking forward to using this deck, but maybe I should put together something that's a little more, fine-tuned or a little more reliable, a little more consistent, or something that, it's regardless of how his deck goes, it'll at least put up a fight or have a chance. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna shut out the haters. I'm gonna do this anyway. I'm gonna see what happens, see if I can make this work, because this isn't just any combo, but this combo, if it works out, is going to leave your opponent with little to no cards in their hand once you're done with them, which, sometimes that's not, it doesn't really matter because they can just put stuff down in territory. But if you can do it on the first turn before they even have a chance to put things down, that seems pretty good. It seems like a solid strategy, solid start. So that's what we're going to be doing. That's what we're going to be trying to accomplish with today's deck and video. And I'm going to be trying to do it against Jay. So the game's already happened, but still, you can wish me luck. I won't spoil how much, if any, of the combo was able to be pulled off, but there was a slight wrinkle in the fact that Jay actually found out about the combo because I guess I didn't do a good enough job of trying to keep it under wraps. Just a public service announcement for everyone. If you have a combo and you happen to tell one of the elders because maybe you're, close with them, or you're asking if this works, or, I'm not going to say who it was, but you can think of elders as being like mandatory reporters where, if there seems to be some kind of problematic combo within the game, then they're going to have to talk to other elders about it. And then some of those other elders might talk to other people, such as Jay. Also not going to name names there, but you know who you are. You might be related to me in some way. And you might not have actually known that I was playing against Jay in the first round of the Lackey Grand Prix and that I was planning to use this deck, or that it was even a combo that came from me. But regardless, Jay was aware of what was going on, more or less, and also didn't tech for it, though. He wasn't like 100% sure that I was going to be playing that, and I mean, I think he was fairly confident, but he didn't like tech against it specifically, which there are some ways to tech against it, but like I said, at least in this version, my attempt is to try to pull off the combo on turn 1, and hopefully my opponent doesn't have as much to do with it. I do have ways in here to limit their interaction, which I'll talk about. But, if you're trying to set up the combo, especially under one territory class enhancement limitation, it's going to be a little tricky to, get everything set up to the point where your opponent isn't able to interact. So anyways, you're probably wondering, probably thinking, come on, Jaden, just tell us what the combo is. As you can see, I've got Ashkelon highlighted here. And recently in these Rubles Temple Discord, which anyone is welcome to, it's kind of talking about more in-depth deck strategies. There's a channel for like lots of different kinds of meta decks, and you can post lists and talk about it, whatever. There's also a combos thread, and Jared, or him, posted in that that channel. Channel. I'm trying to get my terminology, my Discord terminology here correct. In the Fun Combos channel, that about Ashkelon and just the different ways that you can get multiple discards in one turn, whether it be through bouncing Ashkelon, through exchanging the Lost Soul, like using the Wanderer Lost Soul, or any other means of exchanging a Lost Soul that's in Ashkelon with one of your opponent's OT Lost Souls, and getting another trigger there. To clarify, we're using this as the site side. So Ashkelon, the site says if an OT Lost Soul is put here, each opponent must discard a card from hand. So finding ways to trigger Ashkelon multiple times in one turn. You can get up to 4 activations because of the 4 activations rule. And Jared, he was kind of just theorizing, putting out some different ways to do that. And as he was doing that, I bit a little bit. I took the bait somewhat and was kind of like, okay, what are the different ways to do it? And there are some kind of cheeky ways or kind of fun ways. One of the things that Jared brought up, which was actually kind of interesting, was the fact that you could use the Wanderer Lost Soul, exchange with an opponent's Lost Soul to get another trigger, and then you could put down Moses or any other, activate I am redemption, or whatever, to negate Lost Souls. So that will undo the exchange as long as it happened in the same phase, and it will put the Wanderer back in Ashkelon, and you'll actually get another trigger for that. Seems a little weird, but it's just kind of the way that things work. And so you would get another trigger off of Ashkelon because of that. Then if you bounce Moses, or you take away the negate of the Lost Souls in some other way, I think you might have to do it with bouncing Moses, because if you negate the negate, then it would just undo the things that were negated. But I mean, maybe that would work because you're undoing it and putting the Lost Soul that you had originally exchanged for back in there. Either way, if Lost Souls are no longer being negated, you can exchange again, get another trigger, so on and so forth. And so that's a way that you could do it repeatably. But as I was taking the bait and looking at different interactions or with the ways that you could do it, I found kind of the creme de la creme, I think that's the phrase, of kind of the easiest way to max out your activations during your prep phase, so every turn, and that is by using, drumroll please, using these fortresses that say holds any number of captured human heroes, or Fortress of Antonia says holds any number of captured humans. So as long as you have an OT human, or human hero in the case of Raiders Camp, as long as you have an OT human that is captured in your land of bondage, you can move the human Lost Soul into Ashkelon to occupy it, and then you can move the captured character to one of these holds fortresses, one of these fortresses that holds a captured human, that takes it out of Ashkelon, out of your land of bondage even, and then you can take it out, because you can always, because neither of these specify how you both add cards to and remove cards from the fortress, then you can move cards in and out at will, basically same way how Chamber of Angels works. So you can move your Heavenly Host in and out to make up to 4 Heavenly Host tokens to get those 4 triggers. Same thing with the Holds ability. You can move on Raiders Camp and Fortress of Antonia, also Alexandrian Ship, and I just had it in my head. Wow, what was the other one? Alexandrian Ship and Herod's Praetorium. Yes. Those are the other 2 evil fortresses that can hold captured humans or heroes or whatever. Anyways, you can move them in and out as many times as you want. So you can move the captured humans back to your land of bondage, occupy Ashkelon again, get another trigger, and then rinse and repeat. So you can get up to 4 Ashkelon triggers every turn in your prep phase, as long as you have either Ashkelon. Well, you need Ashkelon. You need either of Raiders Camp, Fortress of Antonia, or one of the other 2 fortresses that I mentioned before, which I did not include in this deck because I don't think they're needed. And then you also need a Philistine because your Ashkelon has Unity, Evil, Humans, Philistine. And then you also need a captured OT human hero, or in the case of Raiders Camp, or just a human in the case of Fortress of Antonia. So in order to make this work, I put together a very small Philistines defense because I'm going to need some Philistines. And they also happen to have some pretty good ways to make sure I can get to Ashkelon. There are certainly other ways and other defenses, but this is, I mean, because I'm already going to be in Philistines for the Unity, I'm going to need a Philistine for the Unity, then that just made the most sense. So I have these 3 Philistines plus Pagan Sailors and Kings of the Earth, which can both be Philistines. I have ways to get 2 Philistines with cards like Outcry, Lawless, and Darkness, and then just other consistency losses like Grumbled and Shepherds and Prosperity, just to all help me get to the cards that I need, I guess, for the combo. And they also, these 3 losses play a fairly big role in helping get there, even more than just cycling through cards, which I'll get to in a moment. But I have these Philistines in here to set that up, and then I also needed to pair that with an offense that I thought could get me a captured human most reliably. And with that, I figured Sons of Jacob would be the best bet, because they have cards like Judah's Intervention that capture a Genesis or Meek hero to a player. And then there's also Joseph's Silver Cup, which says at any time you can discard this card to capture your Son of Jacob to a land of bondage. So cards like that were kind of what pushed me in this direction for this offense. They have a few other consistency things that work well that can help to set this up, but those were kind of the main parts. So I'm going to start with the defense, kind of going over that in more detail. You might be wondering why I have Kings of the Earth and Pagan Sailors in here. As you can see, and I also have Philistine Soothsayers. Aren't there better Philistines that I could be running than these 3? And I wanted to make sure I had the most, maybe not the most possible, but a large amount, I guess, of access to Delivered, or characters that could play Delivered, I guess. And so Kings of the Earth and Pagan Sailors can both be played as, I guess, either gold or, but more likely, pale green in this case, because then they could also play Go into Captivity in a pinch. And they're going to also be able to be played as Philistines. Kings of the Earth works really well because it actually gives another use case for Fortress of Antonia, and an actual practical application other than just discarding my opponent's entire hand. Of course, that's important too, but Herod's Praetorium and Alexandrian Ship pretty much have 0 applications other than just holding captured humans. And so Fortress of Antonia was one that I was like, okay, this one kind of makes sense. So might as well get Kings of the Earth in here to be able to take care, or to utilize that ability in a pinch, and then also be able to play Delivered. Pagan Sailors is kind of similar, where he actually has a little more utility than some of the other options. Namely, one of the options is going to be using him to activate either Go into Captivity or Stocks in the mid-battle, because Stocks and Go into Captivity are both great ways to enable the combo, but also they're good ways to block, because unfortunately, or maybe fortunately for the sake of the game, the 4 activations rule does mean that you're going to leave your opponent with at least a few cards, hopefully not very many. And of course they're going to draw 3 at the beginning of each of their turns, but they're at least going to have a few characters or heroes, and so having ways to block is important, because as you can see, most of the blocking power and even rescuing power is trimmed out, maybe put into the reserve, just to make sure, I guess, increase the odds of being able to pull off the combo on turn 1. So there's lots of consistency pieces in here, very few ways to actually win battles, because the hope is that they just won't have the resources to block or attack effectively. That's the goal anyway. It is risky though, because of course there are 7 evil brigades on each of these 2 characters at face value, so any Matthew attack while these are in hand is going to put a pretty big damper on the hand control situation. So maybe the risk is higher than it needs to be for these, and maybe there are better options here. Maybe Goliath should be in the main deck, because I think Goliath is just a good blocker if your opponent only has 1 hero. Maybe they had to pitch the others to Ashkelon. So yeah, I don't know. Going second and then getting a Matthew against you while you have one of these guys in hand is pretty rough. But yeah, there are a few other ways to mitigate that. Plus, it's also a herdsman deck, so if they Matthew me, I'm almost certainly getting off the combo on the next turn, because I'm gonna hopefully be able to get to herdsman and block the Matthew and kind of reciprocate the draw. So that was kind of the main goal with the defense. So Soothsayer is just another, or probably the best Philistine that can play delivered. I guess Philistine at face value that can play delivered. Philistine Diviners was the other one, and was there a third one? Oh, I had aliens in here for a while because it captures to a player, and so if I was blocking with aliens or say my opponent went first, I could block with aliens, capture it to myself, and enable the combo for my turn, and already have that piece in place. But that would require also making sure that I have Fortress of Antonia rather than Raiders Camp, because it has to be captured humans. So yeah, you'd have to be careful with that a little bit. And it's also not a Philistine, so it ended up just being one of like the last cards that got cut, just to try to get this down to 50 cards. This is, it's right. You might be thinking, wow, Jaden, 50 cards, good job. I managed to get it down to 50, and it was painful, but really, I mean, this is probably one of the decks that I've put the most effort in for the one game, like before even playing a game with the deck. Like this is, I put a good amount of goldfishing and just, having the list in front of me, just staring at it. I didn't build it very long before, like actually put it together long before the game. I think it was like the night before we were planning to play, but then kind of throughout the next day I was just looking at the list and kind of figuring out what things I could tweak, and yeah, did some gold fishing as well. So Soothsayers, and then Armor Bearer and Herdsman to respond to Matthew. And then you might be wondering, what is this guy doing in here? Well, this is actually a very good, like it's a very strong part of getting set up on, or for the combo, that I didn't even realize until I was like, I have to get Golgotha in this deck to be able to activate the cross in a different spot, because that artifact slot is so heavily taxed. Like I have so many artifacts that I want to activate, mostly just to be able to capture my, set up the capture part of the combo, because I'm going to need the territory class part most of the time to search for other pieces. And so I wanted to be able to have the cross active if I had it, without having to use that artifact slot. I just felt like there's going to be just no cases where I had the cross active on turn 1 alongside having another one of my artifacts. Like I would have to have a capture artifact in my opening hand, and then have to have delivered to activate the cross after I did the capture, and then that also means that I have to have the other combo pieces already in hand, because I can't play another territory class enhancement. So I wanted another place to be able to activate the cross, and it felt bad running Golgotha without a character to search for. And so I was just like, all right, well, what characters can I use that wouldn't disrupt the Ashkelon unity? So I'd have to look for non-humans that were gospel. I saw Prince of this World, and I was like, oh, this guy, has a lot of utility in this deck, actually, because if my opponent just has one big hero that they can push into battle, like my defense isn't really very well built to stand against that. Like I have a few, like all of these are battle winners technically, but barely. The Prince of this World can just kind of stand alone, or be a good standalone against that, especially if my opponent is hanging on to their dominance, trying to discard those last. Prince of this World being protected from lone heroes and opponent's dominance is great. Bouncing a character in a territory can be nice because it could reset my Abraham or one of my meek heroes that, either Jacob or Judah that Abraham plays, something like that. But really, the utility in this card is found in the star ability that top decks an evil fortress from deck. And so being able to find my Ashkelon, my Raiders Camp, or Fortress of Antonia off of the star ability on turn 1, or kind of on turn 0, I guess, is incredible for the consistency of this deck. It just adds another way to get to those. And then basically that means as long as I have either Shepherds, Prosperity, Lawless, or Grumbled, as long as I have one of those Lost Souls, I can just pick up that fortress right away. So after I top deck it with a star, then I just either draw 1, draw 2, reveal the 6, and I can take the fortress that I just top decked with Prince. So I think it's actually a very nice inclusion that I kind of just happened to stumble on as I was looking at cards, and I was like, oh, this is perfect. Like I think the first time I goldfished the deck after adding Prince, he was in the opening hand, and I was like, oh, this is incredible. So just seemed like a good fit. Maybe some testing will reveal that it's not worth it in the long run, but I just felt like it was a good consistency piece that if it's in my opening hand, that's awesome. If it's not, maybe Golgotha is, and I can thin my deck out a little bit by having another card to search for. He also plays Wages, and because it's not human, then it doesn't disrupt the Ashkelon unity. So that seemed like a good play. The one thing that I did feel a little hesitant about was that it is not a Philistine. So if I don't have one of these other 5 evil characters in my opening hand or a way to get to them, then I won't be able to have the Ashkelon unity be active. So that was a little bit tricky in some of the test draws, but I felt like between Lawless and Outcry and some of the other pieces I had in place, just to I think the 5 Philistines was enough. There's maybe an argument to be running Warrior Overtaken, but I think the Dom slots, I think I like them where they are. I'll kind of talk about the rest of those in a little bit. Let's talk about the offense here. As you can see, I have only 8 heroes in the main deck, so it's a little bit thin for most decks, but really I just need to have one Son of Jacob in the opening. Ideally, I have a Son of Jacob, or at least a Genesis hero. I mean, it depends on which capture card I have. But if I have 2 heroes, that's great, because that means that I can capture one and attack with another. If Judah's Intervention is my capture card, then that can work well too, because then I can take another hero from deck and actually be more picky about which one I take. Like, it'll probably be Jacob, just because he's got big numbers and can search for an enhancement. Not that there are really too many enhancements that I need to be searching for anyway, but like Covenant with Noah is kind of a big one, to where, if I'm going with Jacob, he's big. They maybe keep an evil character and a battle winner, but they probably also want to keep some offense, maybe want to keep some dominance. And so having a big hero with Covenant with Noah to negate their battle winner, just seems pretty good. So, ways to get to these guys is good with Covenant with Noah is an option. Covenant with Noah also takes a Genesis human from deck, not just necessarily just a hero. So it kind of also represents a way to Herdsman, a way to a Philistine to turn on Ashkelon if needed. The problem with that, though, is that Covenant with Noah is generally not what I want to be activated in my artifact slot if I can avoid it, because I'm going to need to have one of the capture things as well. Like if I activate Covenant with Noah, basically I either need Delivered to activate a different artifact or Judah's Intervention to capture that way. There is a pale green I don't remember what it's called. There's a pale green evil enhancement that captures a hero in his territory class, which I did have in the list at one point here. Just didn't quite make the cut. I'm probably going to need my territory class enhancement to be searching for something. So it's probably wasn't worth it. Like Judah's intervention, I think, is good enough because it searches for a character as well. So it does a little bit more than just the capture. So that, I mean, that I think was definitely worth it. But the pale green capture enhancement, I couldn't quite justify it. But maybe it could go in some version of this. I think a refined version would definitely require some more iterations to be able to figure out, where the consistency actually needs to be focused more. But this version actually felt pretty good. As far as the other enhancements, so Offering Your Son can go and grab pretty much any of my artifacts other than the cross. So any of my OT artifacts, which pretty much all of them that capture. Covenant with David is there too as another way to get to Ashkelon. So if I can Offering Your Son and I search for Covenant with David, then I'm probably not getting there on turn 1 because that means that I've already played my territory class enhancement. So Offering Your Son is partially a way to, like, it's pretty much only if I have the other pieces already in hand, but it's also good for the star ability because if I have that with Prince of this World, then I can, top deck the fortress and then use the star ability on Offering Your Son after that to discard an evil card from hand and draw 1. So there are other benefits to that, of course, and it's just a good one for getting set up on later turns. Faith of Noah can go and get my Joseph Silver Cup or my Covenant with Noah, and also Storehouse later if it comes up that I want it. Storehouse is kind of the way I need to close out the game, basically, like get my battle winners and stuff out of reserve to make sure that I have enough gas to, like, a lot of my stuff is about getting set up on turn 1, and so if my opponent, even though my opponent's resources are going to be limited, my actual impactful battle resources are going to be somewhat limited as well. So Storehouse is fairly important in here, even though I was trying to figure out if there was a way I could get it into reserve and get it out reliably, which didn't really feel like it would work. So Faith of Noah can do that. Also, it could be played as a battle winner, which is nice. Judah's Intervention is kind of the same thing. It's a battle winner or a tutor or whatnot, and then Virgin Birth, just a really good consistency card that should be in pretty much any deck, and I almost forgot to put it in here until like the day of. I was looking at the list and I was like, oh yeah, I need Virgin Birth in here for sure. So that also works with Prince of this World, and also just helps tremendously in setting up the combo. I did think about putting Moses in here. I kind of thought about those both at the same time. That Moses, Friend of God, which has a star ability to shuffle any number of your cards from hand and then draw that many cards. So it's kind of a mulligan for, however much of your hand you don't need, or like, if you're really digging for a combo, that can be a great consistency card. And maybe there's an argument for cutting one of the sons of Jacob here for Moses. I'm kind of leaning towards Benjamin as the one for that, but that leaves me with only 5 sons, which is maybe fine. I don't know, that's probably enough, but it's gonna feel bad if I have Joe's Cup and as my only capture option and just no Son of Jacob to capture with it. So that's like Joe's Cup is definitely the best one to be able to capture because you also get to look and pick a card from the top 3, so it just increases the consistency a little bit. Go into Captivity is next, I guess, because you get the capture and draw. But yeah, I think maybe Benjamin comes out for Moses, but I'd have to think about that a little bit more. Moses is another character that can play Delivered, which is nice, but he does disrupt Unity for Joe's Cup and for Gad, so I do like the fact that Gad can set up and kind of hold my opponent back from catching up if they, draw 3 or maybe they keep a Matthew or something and are able to get a few brigades in my hand to do some drawing and catch up that way. So yeah, that's kind of the goal here is to do this as quickly as possible and try to put the pressure on so that they can't catch up. And Gad definitely does a good job of helping with that, especially if you get him CBN under Joseph. So that is pretty much the offense. In the dual icon or dual alignment area here, I've got Delivered, which I already kind of talked about. Pretty self-explanatory. Lingering in Sodom is a card that probably you might have to read here. You may play a city from deck. If played in battle, capture opponent's character of opposite alignment to an unoccupied Genesis site. Cannot be prevented. It's actually not that bad of a card. I definitely forgot until just now that it said unoccupied Genesis site. So I was kind of thinking that it could be used to capture to Golgotha or Ashkelon if they were unoccupied, but it certainly cannot. So it's really just in here as a way to play Ashkelon from deck. But because Ashkelon is the only card that I definitely need, like it's the one of one card in this deck that you have to find, then Ashkelon is going to, like, having the most ways to tutor for Ashkelon is the most important. And so Lingering in Sodom is a way to do that. Avenged is also a way to do that. You can take an evil OT fortress from deck, and it is territory class, as with most of the enhancements in this deck. So this can go and get Raiders Camp, or it can get Ashkelon. And then as far as the other tutors here, Wages of Sin, it can't get Ashkelon, but it can get Raiders Camp or Fortress of Antonia. And then Surreptitious Scheme is in here to be able to take an evil NT card from deck if I control a Meeclosel. So that could either be through drawing into or somehow getting Lost Souls out on in the opening 8 or on turn 1, and then creating a token in my own Land of Bondage so that I have a Meeclosel for Surreptitious Scheme. Or if I already have if I have a way to capture a hero or capture a character to my Land of Bondage already, then I can do that first and then use Surreptitious Scheme to search for Crowd's Choice to get something else that I need, search for Fortress of Antonia to set that up. If that's the holds thing that I need, or the holds fortress that I need, then Surreptitious Scheme can do that. It could also search for Kings of the Earth if I need a Philistine, which if I'm playing Surreptitious Scheme, then I already have a Philistine, so I guess that doesn't really matter. But maybe you have Kings of the Earth and you need, or maybe you have a Philistine, but you play Surreptitious Scheme and then you have to capture the Philistine with your stocks or go into captivity or something, and then you can search for Kings of the Earth with it that way. I don't know. Anyways, it's just a good tutor. Can go and get any evil NT card, which basically 9 times out of 10 is probably going to be Crowd's Choice to get something else, to get Ashkelon, to get a capture thing, which that's a nice part about going to captivity, is that Crowd's Choice can search for it because it does have an evil alignment here. But Surreptitious Scheme can also go and get Shipwreck or Vain Philosophy, which are important aspects of protecting the combo. So I guess we could move into that aspect of the deck here. I talked about a lot of the tutors and ways to get the combo, but the ways to protect the combo are just about as important, and that's going to be done through Shipwreck. If my opponent goes first and they have a storehouse, I want to be able to negate it or get rid of it, discard it, whatever. Anything that's protecting their hand, I want to have an answer for that. So I think Shipwreck is just too important to leave out in that regard. And then I also want to interact with their hand to kind of make sure that the combo is going to go through with cards like Out of Their Hands and Vain Philosophy. Vain Philosophy is going to be the big one. It's going to hit their 3 woes, their Crowd's Choice, their Son of God, whatever it is that can interact with the combo. Kind of one of the main ways to interact, I guess, is to Son of God the captured character, and so I won't be able to move it back and forth. Obviously, just the 3 woes on Ashkelon is good. You just negate the discard part, and then occupying it doesn't do anything. But there are other threats as well that Vain Philosophy can handle. Plus, if you use Vain Philosophy to underdeck one of their cards, and then you still get the 4 triggers on Ashkelon, then they only have 3 cards in hand instead of 4, and at that small of a size on the first turn, that's going to make a big difference. So, Vain Philosophy very good, comes in handy in this game, as you will see. And I'm actually like kind of feeling like I want to be running this in more decks, just because of the potential it has, especially like in the early turns, like just even on turn 1 going second. It's just the disruption. It's so good, but it just, yeah, it's hard to justify the slot. But in this deck, I think it's definitely earns its spot very well. Same with Out of Their Hands, except Out of Their Hands has to be played during battle while your Son of Jacob is rescuing, so this isn't going to be able to stop your opponent from interacting on turn 1, unfortunately, because you do have to do all of this Ashkelon comboing in your prep phase before attacking. But if you get them down to 4 cards, they're probably not going to be able to keep very much defense. Then you just attack with, I don't know, who's the guy that searches? Issachar, who says opponent may underdeck an evil card in territory. What do you know? It's turn 1. They don't have an evil card in territory. And then you get to take a good Genesis card from deck. You take Out of Their Hands. You play it. Bada bing, bada boom. They've got nothing in hand, and you get the Lost Soul. So that is the way that I did the dominant lineup, which you might be thinking, like, a combo deck without Mayhem, that's kind of tough. I agree. There was a time in the preparation or building of this deck that I had 57 cards, and that was actually like probably 15 to 20 minutes before I was about to play the game with Jay. I had a few cards that I was like, I could maybe cut these, but if I don't get it down to 50, then maybe 57 is the way to go. If there's like, if it's just cards like Mayhem, I had Hunter, and here is the 8th Lost Soul, and just a few other, like Moses was in that version of it. There were just enough added consistency cards that I was like, maybe this is worth it. But I ended up cutting it down, and Mayhem was the cut. I think that protecting the combo with Vain Philosophy and Shipwreck was just too important, kind of driving the nail in further with Out of Their Hands was too important. And then obviously Crowd's Choice, Three Woes, Son of God, and Second Coming are all going to be staples in this. And the other thing with Mayhem is that if I get my opponent's hand down to, 0 to 2 cards, 0 to 3 cards by turn 2 or 3, then like I'm not going to be playing Mayhem. It's just going to be a wasted slot there, which, I mean, this deck doesn't really care. A lot of these are wasted slots in the later game. Like the goal is turn 1, and so maybe that's an argument to keep Mayhem in here. Maybe it should still be in here, and maybe Out of Their Hands. No, that just, I don't know. I just don't think, I couldn't justify it. You tell me if I'm wrong here, but that was the difficult decision to make. Pretty similar to Moses, which I think Moses I could justify. I could squeeze in here. Maybe that would make up for the lack of Mayhem. I just felt like it was consistent enough without Mayhem that it was going to be okay. Plus, I don't want to look at my opponent's hand with some ability and then see that they, I don't want to play Vain Philosophy, underdeck their card, see that they don't have any way to interact, and then have to end up playing Mayhem, and then not knowing what they have, not knowing if they have a Three Woes or Son of God to interact or something like that. So that's just, that was where I landed on that. It's tough, but here we are. I already talked about the Lost Souls and pretty much all the support and everything. Just talk about the reserve a little bit. 20 shekels. I do have a way to get it out. Gad the Retaliator. That was actually one of the cards that was in the 57 in the main deck. And then as I was kind of making these last cuts, I was like, well, 20 shekels, I don't think I'm going to be able to activate it on turn 1 because I need that artifact slot for other things. Like I want to be activating the cross to protect the combo. I guess, that's a big one. If I can stop Three Woes and Son of God, Second Coming, all that interaction stuff with the cross. So if I do all my dominant stuff to, help set up the combo, then I can hopefully get the cross active. It's probably not going to happen on turn 1, but it's here in case it does. And so, the 20 shekels just felt like it was going to be the last option. Like in a normal deck, if I'm not trying to turn 1 combo, but I just have this deck built as like a a normal Sons of Jacob and Philistines deck, which I think is perfectly viable. And then just having this combo kind of peppered in there, or just, splashed in there, and just expecting to maybe get to it on turn 2 or 3, then I think 20 shekels goes in the main deck for sure. Faith of Noah tutoring for it is pretty sweet. It's good with delivered. It's just a good card in general, especially with Ruben, getting to choose a blocker. But in this deck, I don't need it right away. It's really just about, once I pull off the combo, then if I can pull out 20 shekels and start kind of guaranteeing that I can get in by clearing out their hand and, whatever, then, then I could get 20 shekels out with Gad. I think he's the only way I have to get it out, except for delivered. If I have a way to bounce either Kings of the Earth or Pagan Sailors, and I can put them back down as an Egyptian, and then maybe bounce later, I could use delivered to activate 20 shekels from reserve. I mean, even I could, if it's Pagan Sailors, I can put them down as an Egyptian, use delivered to activate 20 shekels from reserve, and bounce Pagan Sailors back to my hand. So anyways, then I've got basically just stuff to continue to get through. So, a turn 2 first sacrifice that I can pull out with Storehouse is pretty good, especially, or if I've comboed on turn 1. And so if they have 5 cards in hand or whatever on turn 2, they're able to replenish a little bit, then first sacrifice can help just to clear everything out. Also, Battle Winner, Reserve for Famine is a Battle Winner. Abraham's Descendant can help to combat some protection or I guess counters and stuff in the form of curses, and also do some banding to get some value, get some drawing with Zebulun and Father Abraham, all that. And also then the defense is kind of both for blocking and also disruption, I guess, or kind of answering disruption to the combo. So Satan's Seat is in here, can come out with either Wages or Surreptitious Scheme, and takes care of any Storehouse or Bethlehem Stable problems that are protecting from my Ashkelon. And then Goliath's Curse and Foreign Spears are both in here to deal with a Woes that's negating my Ashkelon if they play it as evil. If they play it as good, if they play it as good, then Curse and Spears can both deal with it. If they play it as evil, then I'm in a little more of a tricky situation. I have to figure something else out. There is an argument for Noah being in this deck, just for the fact that he can, play delivered. He can, just a generally good card, and I'm already committed to having some multicolor. So, what's 9 good brigades? So definitely a little risky. Maybe he goes in reserve. But yeah, he's also not a Son of Jacob or a Patriarch, and so my doesn't work for capturing with Cup, and also offsets the unity on Gad here. But Goliath's Curse and Foreign Spears are both good for that. They both can come out with Wages. Goliath's Curse can come out with Herdsmen as well, Pagan Sailors, if I guess if my opponent has Jonah in play, but delivered if I use one of these guys as Egyptian, and of course Storehouse. So definitely lots of ways to get these out. Go Away is good for winning battles and also just resetting my offense if I need to. And then Goliath, I kind of talked about him earlier. So that was a lot. This round 1 of Lackey Grand Prix is against Jay, and I was, if I had something else built that I was confident with and was like, I'm planning to use this at some point during this Lackey Grand Prix as well, I probably would have just used it for this game, knowing, or like once Jay told me he knew and he was like, do you want to use something else? And I was like, you know what, let's just go for it, see what happens. Well, I went for it, and you're about to see what happened. Maybe some of you already know because you saw the results in the Discord channel, but it's not necessarily indicative of how the whole game went. So, of course, you are about to see that now. But before we get into that, we got to do a shout out for our sponsors over at Your Turn Games. We are proud to be sponsored by them, and they are proud to be retailing Redemption CCG. So if you have any redemption needs, you can go there. This week we're going to be highlighting the grab bags. Talked about the battle boxes last week, and this is kind of a similar product, except the battle boxes were geared a little bit more towards having the freedom to build 2 decks, like you and a friend, most likely, and then you can play them against each other. The grab bags are going to be a little more randomized, but you can also have a lot of freedom to customize them as well, which is nice. There are lots of different, there's a variety of different things you can do with the grab bags. You could just get a rotation one, 200 cards, and then that's going to be from all the sets. You can do some that are from specific sets. So I'm sure there will be. I'm not sure, but there's one from just about every set that has been released in rotation. There's no Early Church or Persecuted Church one. There's no Israel's Rebellion one yet, but there might be at some point. You can also do ones that are brigade specific. So pick your favorite good brigade, your favorite evil brigade, and you'll get a combination of cards from there. You could also do this scratch and dent grab bag, which I actually didn't know about until I was just looking at it a little bit before recording here, where you can actually just get basically just a massive discount. Maybe massive is overstating it, but it's more than you would get otherwise for all of these kind of scratch and dent cards that either have a little bit of discoloration on the outside border, maybe some scratches, chips, miscut border, any other cosmetic imperfections that are all legal for tournament play. So if you're not quite as concerned with how your cards look, but more just how they play and whether or not they are legal, functional cards, then the scratch and dent bag or grab bag might be the one for you. But there are plenty of others that you can do, and at varying prices too. Some that have the same amount of cards, but you can get different numbers of commons, and that'll be slightly different price or different number of commons, like legacy rares, however you want to break it up. So you can get a whole bunch of cards for a discounted price. It's kind of like getting a display box, except it's a little more customizable, I guess, where you can vaguely what you're getting into, but not exactly. So these are kind of like I don't know, almost repackaged display boxes, but they're you're definitely getting a good deal on them. So if you would like a grab bag or anything else that Your Turn Games offers, which ranges from pre-built decks to singles to display boxes to other card supplies, then head on over to yourturngames.biz today and get the stuff while it's good. Maybe you need to pick up a copy or two of Ashkelon to build a combo deck while it lasts. I don't know. We'll see how long the potentially problematic combo lasts before there's some kind of rule change. But I mean, hey, we're already up to state tournaments, so this might be legal until nationals. We'll see. So anyways, head on over to Your Turn Games, pick up a few copies of Ashkelon or whatever you need, and now enjoy the video. Thanks. Enjoy the game. I guess you're already watching the video. Hopefully you're enjoying it. Okay. Enjoy the game. All right, let's do it. If I could win a die roll for the first time in my life against you, that would be awesome.
What did you get? Or did you not roll yet?
I have not. I rolled a 2, so...
You did not win the die roll.
Doesn't seem like it's going to happen. That's fine.
Okay, so I will go first. I have no stars.
I too have no stars. Let's do... Or I suppose, yeah, you do your shepherds first. Yep.
Here's a hopper.
Oh, thanks. Where'd that come from?
I drew it off shepherds.
Oh. All right. Okay, you drew to replace it. Okay, yeah. I guess I will lawless myself.
Okay. Okay, so this does look like the deck John showed me.
Oh, what? John built the deck already too?
Yep.
Gosh, some people.
To be fair, I mean, I did hold him under duress because of Pot Bomb.
Hold him under duress?
Yeah, I shared that with him.
Oh, well, still. That was yours to share. um, let's see. I can take an evil card. I guess we'll take the scheme.
Okay.
Send the rest to the bottom. Prosperity doesn't trigger. Lost Souls does trigger. I will give myself a token. And I'll do Grumbled. I will underdeck. Wait, did I already do that part? What did I do?
No idea.
So I don't know if that was in my hand. Okay. Drew a card. Oh, did I just draw 9 cards at the beginning?
You took one for. Yeah, I have no idea. No, you drew 8. Somewhere down the line, you must have drawn an extra one somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, I think I just drew this card because I put the Lost Souls in play. And I was like, oh, I'd put a Lost Soul down. And because, yeah, I put down Prosperity and the Lost Souls and then drew cards for some reason.
Gotcha. Am I good to roll?
I still need to do Grumbled here. I'm going to put down, or I'm going to send that one to the bottom and draw one. So yeah, 9 cards sounds right for what I should have because of Lawless. So yeah, we're good.
All right, so we're gonna do this. You're gonna woes this.
I don't know. Are you gonna search for something first?
Yeah, we'll go get Spirit as a Dove.
Okay.
Can I keep it?
I'll ask for Dominish.
Sure.
I'll play Vain Philosophy.
Okay.
Let's see. You're just gonna Matthew me. Sure. We'll underdeck your Angel.
Yeah, make me work for it at least, right?
And then I will play 3 Woes as Evil to negate your New Covenant.
All the things.
All the things.
Yeah, we're just gonna play some meek dudes and a meek dude and call it a day.
Seems good.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Okay, so my turn then?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Cool. I get a turn. Alright. So you have some things. I guess I'll keep my woes on your New Covenant. Let's put down Joseph. Put down a Storehouse at CBN. And gotta figure out how to actually do things here. Let's do Armor Bearer. I will play Surreptitious Scheme to take an evil NT card from my deck.
Okay.
I will take, I think that one. Yeah, I'll take Fortress of Antonia.
That is the one to use.
That is a one to use. I will put down Gad, who is now also CBN. And huh. Played Evil Crowd's Choice. I mean, it's a lot harder when you know what I'm doing to do things.
And you have full hand knowledge. I mean, do you really think that I'm going to?
Right, and that's part of the trickiness, I guess.
I mean, like, you go for it because, I mean, if I burn Second Coming to get Son of God, I mean, I'm putting myself behind still.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out if there was a way that I could stop you from doing that even. Um, Honestly, the answer might have been letting you get the Matthew. Because you would have only drawn 2 cards. And I could have herdsman in response. But anyways, I will grab the Ashkelon. I think that's the way to do it. And I will activate stocks to capture my Joseph.
I'm going to use Second Coming to deck.
Sure, you can have Dom Initiative. That's fine.
May I have Dominish?
I guess.
Yes, I will Second Coming to deck the Son of God to take your Joseph.
Sure.
And then if you have another way to do this, then I'm sad. You have Son of God in my deck, right?
That would be
Yeah,
awkward.
I just wonder what it looks like. I'll take that, Joseph. Now, do you have another way to get another capture, dude?
Let's see. It's a good question. I've already used my territory class, used my artifact.
I mean, I don't think there's another way you can get a capture, dude, but I might be wrong.
I don't think so either. But I'll put down Ashkelon as a site.
Okay.
I will put down Fortress of Antonia. And then I have to decide if attacking is worth it here, because you've got a slave. And a Blood Avenger. Nope. Let's see what happens. I'll pass turn.
Okay. Draw some cards. Or the bottom of deck. Draw one. Darkness. And I guess a darkness, right? It's second turn of the game, so I'll go darkness to reserve to get Uzza.
Sure.
Yeah, this feels bad. Take a turn.
Okay. Sure. Don't mind if I do.
mean, if you have no gas, you have no gas.
That's fair. Let's see. I didn't discard any heroes, did I? No. Okay. Virgin Birth will look at my top 6. Yeah, that seems good. Let's do Joseph Silver Cup. Upkeep. I will storehouse for sacrifice. And keep woes on New Covenant. Activate Silver Cup. Look at my top 3. Take an Abraham.
So, may I have Dominish?
Sure.
This is your Ashkelon.
Yep.
Good was.
Of course.
Watch Jay and Jaden play the dumbest game of redemption. It makes no sense whatsoever.
It would have been good.
Oh yeah, you would have destroyed me. Actually, to be fair, when I caught on to what you were doing after the first repetition, I would have son of godded the card.
Yeah.
And so I would have just gotten damaged.
Right. I mean that. Yeah. Yeah. Why didn't I do that first? Yeah, that was dumb. Okay. I will. I guess there's no point in using Silver Cup now. Yeah, I guess I will still play the first sacrifice. See what you got. Guess we'll just underdeck
you get
this
us
guy.
Okay.
And then yeah, let's put down Zebulon. Actually, I'm just going to discard Cup to capture my Zebulon. And then I will go to battle.
Does the man get rid of my good 3 woes?
I don't know yet. We'll find out. Judah will negate darkness and ban to Papa Abe. We'll go to deck for a Meek Jacob. And draw 3. Got an Outcry and Darkness. And a Hopper to you. And yeah, I will not use Outcry.
So my block?
He converts. Yep.
I'm going to Uzza to underdeck my new Cove. Got anything?
Yeah. Oh, wait, no. Nope, that's fine.
Yeah.
And I will pass turn.
Pro 3. Okay. You have CBN Storehouse. It'd be nice to have some speed.
I've heard speed is good, but it doesn't seem like either of us are really. Well, I guess I did get to draw 3 last turn.
I'm going to drop Solomon's Temple. I'm going to put the Covenant in it. I'm going to go get Sin the Helper, which is going to bounce Mary.
Okay. Pull that up so I remember what it does.
Okay, so I'm going to come into battle with Mary. She's going to reserve your Armor Bearer. and take love one another. She's going to convert to meek, and helper is going to take eternal inheritance.
Okay, so she took love one another because of the star. She's reserving my armor bearer, converting to meek, and taking eternal inheritance. Okay. Fun stuff. And then Solomon's Temple. Anytime you can underdeck that to negate an evil card. Okay. Sure. I will block with. Yeah, I'll block with Soothsayers. Look at my top 6. Yeah, I've got Abraham. And I will take Stricken.
Okay.
Top deck and or underdeck the rest. I will. I think I'm just gonna top deck one of them and underdeck the rest. No, I'll actually top deck 2 of them. So I'm gonna put these 2. Keep them in the same order, but I'm going to put them towards the end. Then I'll reveal my top 3 to myself and send those 3 to the bottom. Okay, your initiative, I believe. Yeah.
So we're going to EI.
Okay.
I'm going to rescue your captured character because why not? Actually, I'm going to rescue your lost souls.
Okay. And so I get to play an enhancement, and but eternal inheritance is banished, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's still worth it. Let's
Yeah.
I'm just going to capture your Mary.
Okay. Going to use Solomon's Temple. Underdeck the Book of the Covenant to negate it.
Sure.
And then I'll die by the numbers. Is this cool?
I accept.
Okay.
You know what?
I'll play Meek Saint Simon. Your turn.
I'm so dumb. Okay.
Why? Because you didn't negate it with the gick.
What?
You didn't negate it with the go into captivity.
Well, I couldn't negate. Oh yeah, I guess I could have negated Solomon's Temple. That's right. Yeah, but I could have. Yeah, I could have done something else too. But I could have played Shipwreck on Solomon's Temple before you even played Eternal Inheritance. That would have been a lot smarter. Okay, well, I guess my woes will move to your Solomon's Temple.
Okay.
And my storehouse will take a Goliath's Curse from reserve. And I will move to my prep phase.
Sure.
I would like to underdeck Goliath's Curse to underdeck your 3 woes.
Sure.
I would like to move Zebulun into Ashkelon.
Cool. I'll discard this.
Cool. I will move Zebulun to Fortress of Antonia. I will move Zebulun
Yeah,
out
you're gonna
of
do it.
Fortress.
You're gonna do 4 repetitions.
I'll make you discard 3 more cards from hand.
Okay. Guard, love one another, and then I'll discard. 40 years. then I'll discard Reassuring Angels.
Okay. And I will leave Zebulon in Fortress. And I will... don't think there's anything I need to do with that. Yeah. Alright, I will go to battle.
Yes.
I will attack with Gad. And I will take... who's now no longer CBN, sadly. But I will take 20 shekels from my reserve. And then I will play out of their hands to look at your hand.
Oh, hit my Blood Avenge.
I would love to.
Okay. Yeah, you can have one.
Yay!
I think you earned it by now.
Alright. All my hard work finally paying off. I will pass turn.
Row 1, 2, 3. Power of the Spirit. I'm going to play a Meat Hero from deck.
I want to see.
Yeah, look at my hand, please. Sorry.
Cool.
Meek Peter.
Mm-hmm.
I will stocks your Soothsayers.
Uh-huh.
And I will attack with... That's supposed to be in my hand, not my discard pile. I will attack with Peter.
Okay.
Actually, no. I'll attack with Simon. Simon's better.
Okay. I will block with Herdsman. I will take Foreign Spears from my reserve.
Vanish?
Actually, yeah, Foreign Spears. What you got?
Kill you.
Alright. You can discard.
I'm going to technically discard him and your blows. Actually, yeah, I need to just stick with it. I could discard Ashkelon. Actually, I could play it and discard woes at Ashkelon and die. But I declared herdsman and woes as the target. So
I would like to negate that.
okay. Okay, so yeah, I'll just die.
Cool.
Your turn.
Alright. I will... No stars. Upkeep. I'll do... Storehouse will take... Go away. Woes, I think, moves to stocks. And... go to prep phase. I will activate my shekels. We'll bounce my... let's do Abraham. And look at your hand. I will move Zebulon out of Fortress and occupy Ashkelon. I'll do that twice, another time. And then I will go to battle, attack with Judah, ban to Abraham, convert to Meek, draw 3.
Have a soul, sir.
Woo. I will put down Golgotha, fail the search, and I will... it doesn't have a discard ability. Let's play Wages. Go to deck for Pagan Sailors.
Okay.
I will put down Sailors as a Black Philistine. And I will play Son of God on my Soothsayers.
All right.
And I will Second Coming, grab it back. Oops. That goes to discard. I will Rescue Darkness. And I will put down Raiders Camp as a fortress.
Yeah.
And then I'll pass.
Draw 3. Yeah, I'm thinking.
Okay. Put you in the tank.
Grid as a dove. Grid as a dove to O's, play as evil to negate Ashkelon. Drop the dudes. Here we go.
John was upset that I didn't allow spectators. Serves him right. Alright. Star, hit your top card with delivered. And Shepherds, I will sure, we'll under deck this card and draw one. Okay. So we've got an Evil Woes, which will. Oh wait. What did you put Woes on?
Ashkelon.
Okay. Okay, so you got your Woes back. And I have an Evil Woes, which will negate stocks still, I guess. And I have a Storehouse, which I will take Descendant. And who am I more scared of? Oh, I guess I can just do that. Okay, yeah. So I will activate stocks and capture your Wandering Israelites. And then I will attack with Judah, negate your Blood Avenger, and ban to Gad.
That'll do it.
Wow, that was awkward, but it worked out.
So I lost the game on Darkness to Azov.
You should have gotten someone else.
Should have went to Darkness Deceiver. So then I would have had Amslave and Deceiver because I have this into this.
Yep, yeah, that would have been good.
I think it would have entirely changed the tenor of the game.
Yeah, I was a little surprised on that block that you didn't do Blood Avenger 40 years. I feel like that might have. I mean, I could have left my guy with initiative, but I think I don't don't know if I actually had anything to play at that point. And then resetting the artifacts would have set me back a bit.
I mean, really, that turn 1 woes Vayne.
Yeah, that was pretty big. It was definitely
Even the 2 cards off that Matthew would have went a long way.
Right. Yeah, and that was kind of the idea. I mean, honestly, I was looking at your hand with Vayne and decided that because I could, that I would. I didn't even look back at my hand and like look back at how many cards you would have drawn. But yeah, then when I looked back, I was like, oh, it was only 2. Like maybe I should have saved woes for something else, but I think it was still worth it. But yeah, just the fact that that pretty much meant that you had 0 gas.
I mean, it's not for lack of gas. I mean, my deck has gas. That's the bad part.
Well, just in hand. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but like it's just terrible. I have so many outs.
Yeah.
Like to everything. I just never saw anything. Like it's amazing just how much lost soul draw matters.
Right, yeah. Well, I will say, I mean, it's there's only a certain degree of fun that you can have with this deck, but I feel like this was a little bit of retribution for our game and our last game, where you just had everything.
Absolutely.
So even though you had the scoop on the second coming to Son of God, that
only matters if you have gas.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, because like I had the ability to win this game, it just didn't happen.
Yeah. Oh, I'm mad that I didn't think about Shipwreck and here at Solomon's Temple.
Well, I'm going to be completely fair. If you'd asked for Domination Initiative, I would have probably awesome things there.
Sure. Yeah. That's fair. Yeah.
I mean, this game just went poorly.
Yeah.
Just like that last one.
Pretty much. We need to have a good, fair game someday.
We've had them before.
Yeah, that's true.
So, also, I believe this is the first time you've ever beat me on your channel.
Yep, I think you're right. Feels good. I mean, assuming okay, double checking. I am recording. All right, recording's still good. But
I am deserving of this loss. I needed it.
Somebody's got to do it. Cool.
So,
well, what do you think of the combo?
I think it's wild that we didn't fix holds. We did all of those stupid rule changes that don't actually make anything better, and we didn't fix the problem.
Yeah.
Because like holds, the way holds works was a problem.
Right. Yeah.
With Heavenly Host, it's a problem.
Right.
This is an actual problem.
But like, it is a lot. I mean, this deck is obviously very all in, but I think it can splash.
Would I have won this game if I'd married Ashkelon? Or would I have done better? Would I have gotten more play out of this game? Which, I mean, the way that the draws worked, I don't think it would have mattered. Because really I needed to specifically draw into some variation of 3 nails.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, I do... Like, if you do that, I think I maybe do just second coming to Crowd's Choice to get it back out. And so it buys you a turn, which maybe that's the turn you need to get the 3 nails, but yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I think I lost too much. Like, I think taking the Uzza was the game losing misplay.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if I had been able to get off that turn 1 nails that you did.
Well, okay. The other thing with that, I think if you do have Deceiver, like Because I knew you had, I knew what you had. I knew you had Uzza and Blood Avenger as your two options, and I was gonna be fine with either of those. Like if you had blocked Blood Avenger, I probably would have played it out of their hands then. But if I knew you had Deceiver instead, I think I would have out of their hands pre-block.
Well, if you had that and you had first sack that turn, then
Yeah, yeah. I
like,
think I drew into out of their hands on that turn, and then Storehouse to first sacrifice.
yeah, I mean, this deck doesn't work if it doesn't, draw cards.
Right. Yeah, like CBN GAD is pretty cool too. I'm a fan of that. I was actually kind of worried that if I didn't hit something with Soothsayers, that if you play the Love One Another on Mary to convert my Soothsayers, then it would disrupt my Unity, and then you could start drawing stuff again. But yeah, the Stricken helped.
So I don't know if you're in the right defense.
In the right defense?
Yeah.
What would be?
I mean, the problem is that you have all the tutors to Ashkelon are in your defense. That's the fundamental problem. But you can literally just stick the whole combo into this offense with thieves. So you get ambushing bandits and GAD.
But then, how do you get Unity for Ashkelon?
Ew.
You do, yeah. You pretty much have to be Philistines.
I didn't realize that Ashkelon was Unity Philistines for both sides.
Yeah.
Because there's one of those that's Unity on the fortress, but not on the site.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So that's part of why there's a small part of me that thinks this isn't a like overpowered combo. Like, I don't know. It probably does seem like holds should be fixed. Like, I mean, and doing that, you can still trigger it every turn, which is decent.
The fact that there's a combo that could have theoretically just wiped the whole hand before 4 activations is kind of disgusting.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that is kind of like it's a little bit disappointing that it's like, just getting to it now.
So you know what we should have been doing in our Widow decks?
Ashkelon.
We should have been widowing into Ashkelon.
I mean, you don't even really need to at that point. I widowed into a turn 1 crosswind. But yeah.
I'm still confused as to how you actually pulled that off.
I think that the Ashkelon is a little more practical to rely on, I think. Yeah, I mean, like if you'd have Woes just sitting on Ashkelon, I mean, honestly, if you played Woes as evil, I probably would have had a harder time dealing with it. Like, because I've got Foreign Spears and Goliath's Curse. I both deal with it as good. But ways to deal with it as evil might be.
So I'm not gonna lie. I almost played a Roost deck that tried to turn one into Mary's prophetic act to reserve Ashkelon.
That would have been good.
I honestly wished I'd built the Ruth deck. I decided I was going to test this.
Yeah.
And so,
I mean, in theory, this should be pretty good too. Like if you can get a reset and turn off a lot of my tutors, like that's.
Oh, I mean, I think if I'd hit the reset at any point in the game, like if it just magically appeared in my D3,
yeah,
I think it would have. Part of me is wondering if I just need to shift the entire defense off Brown and cut the 40 years. And just be
possibly
all in.
40 years just seems.
Oh, it seems amazing.
Yeah.
But
maybe it's just the Brown that makes it not as worth it. I don't know. Like brown isn't
Oh,
bad. I mean, it's just like the wilderness stuff that you have to do. I don't know. The Unity is tough.
I mean, I don't mind. I don't even mind wilderness. I like it. But I mean, I didn't see any of my deck this game.
Wow. Yeah, that's fair. Have you played other games with the deck?
I almost lost to Mark, and I thought I lost,
Oh
but we
yeah,
realized we realized last minute, like after we done reported, we were like, wait a minute,
yeah,
you didn't have Unity for Shield.
right. Huh.
So Mark was gracious about that.
Yeah.
I could have also just rose to Shield, and it would have answered the problem.
But,
Um, I played a game with Jake, Red Wing.
oh,
I
okay.
just realized there's multiple Jakes and
Gotta
Jacobs.
specify. I usually just call him Jacob and then refer to Jake as Jake, or Hager the
Yeah,
Wise as Jake.
I don't think he goes by Jake at all.
So that makes sense. Yeah.
Jacob, yeah. So played a game against Red Wing and
Nice.
didn't just got a Matthew for 8 mid game, and he just wasn't beating that.
That's one of those ones where you don't really need the reset.
No,
Did you reset
but
against Mark in your Zoom game?
I did.
Okay.
I think
Nice. Yeah, it seems like
I liked
a deck that should be on the channel at some point.
this one.
Yeah, Resetti. Yeah.
Yeah, this one doesn't count. So,
When
okay,
where
so
I'm featuring it, I guess. Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Although I suppose it might
I
be
mean,
better to see it in someone else's hands because, I mean, I could probably figure it out, but I haven't really done much of
oh,
that
are
at
we
all.
still? Did you turn the recording off?
I'm still recording, but we could, end it whenever.
Well, I mean, I'll fish one for you real quick because I want to see if because this deck has turn 0 Meek Unity establishment potential. Wasn't this hand though, so that's not even a hand. I gotta figure out. I think I need another Meek hero.
How many do you have?
This one's bad. So I have this. And I could magically make a Meek Clay hero appear,
Sure.
but it collided.
Well, that's only if you have no hero.
But I realized, so what I realized is that AOC can set you up for nails.
Oh, sure, because you can
So like you have
set
Peter,
aside
you
the
have
hero.
Power of the Spirit, you have. I mean, there's a lot of ways to it.
Or wait, how does AOC set you up?
You just have to have Meek Unity. You can AOC from your hand with the star ability.
Oh, I see. Yeah, so you just set aside.
Like there's a few
Okay.
there's a few different Magic Christmas Land situations that has me nailsing you turn 1.
Yeah,
Or turn 1 you going first.
that is funny. Yeah, I mean you
And if
got
that
mana in
happens,
there.
I think it's supposed to be in here.
You think so? Hmm.
Well, think about it. Also, you can mana into Judas once in a blue
I suppose, yeah, it's not bad.
moon. Turn 0 Judas good.
Yeah, I was thinking like that should be in a Moses deck too. I mean, like, there's mana has some
So
interesting play lines. Like if there was a way or a place to activate mana that wasn't the artifact pile, then I think it would see a lot more play.
after that game, I would have been content activating it on the artifact pile.
That's fair. You get that sweet draw one.
This game it would have been somewhat relevant. But I mean, in this particular Goldfish hand, I mean, if I got to go first, I would set up Meek Unity by attacking you turn 1 because I've got the Angel and the Sun.
Sure, yeah.
I have a Am Slave. Like, there's a lot of ways to 2-block game.
Hmm. Do you have
part of me's wondering though if I should just go like forget the 40 years and play Mayhem.
to keep the wilderness or switch? I mean, I suppose you probably make some swaps at least.
You switch the crap out of the wilderness.
Okay.
You keep the Blood Avenger because you can go infinite with it in this deck.
Are you doing 40 years in reserve? Or
Yeah,
4
sure.
horns in reserve? Can I take
No.
a peek?
Sure.
I mean, I guess you're posting your deck list anyway, so. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I am gonna do that.
Or I assume so, I guess, yeah. Hmm.
So I can just like put Lackey Vomit in there.
Yep, I guess so. I don't know. It might be better to do. We should maybe standardize that a little bit. Like if it's probably better if people do text because if we actually want to do any kind of analytics on it, then a picture isn't gonna work. Like if we want to, put the data into a spreadsheet or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what the idea is with the deck lists or what other than just seeing what people are doing, but
The elders wanted it, is what I understood.
I thought it just kind of spawned out of like people aren't sharing their deck lists as much as other games or something. I don't know.
I don't know.
Well,
I don't know. I just at this point it's like free packs, I guess.
yeah. I mean, yeah, I'll take the prizes, I guess. But I'm not posting my deck list until Thursday, so.
That's fine. I'll give them a spoiler. Yeah, I would like to, for this deck actually to do its thing, but I'm probably not in its current form. I don't think I'm playing it anymore. Just because I don't think the defense wins games. I like the offense.
Yeah.
I like the nails. I just think I just play a defense that actually blocks. And I think getting a nails off is all that you should care about.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times that's really all you need. And if you nails, then the idea is like you don't necessarily have to 40 years. And so you might as well just be more all in on nails.
So
Seems reasonable.
Maybe I should be Herod's with Blood Avenger, 2 Balkane, and the only problem is with Herod's Temple you lose the Book of the Covenant hold.
Oh sure, yeah. Yeah, how have you liked Solomon's Temple and this I don't know. Or have you had it in for all the games that you've played so far?
Yeah, I have. Anytime I've ever used the negate, so I won a tournament with Solomon's Temple, a district. It was
Nice.
a 3-person district, but the Solomon's Temple, like in the deck that I was playing, did help me win the tournament.
Huh.
So
It's neat. Yeah, once I realized that Solomon's Temple was like Noah's wife, where the negate just keeps going, I was like, oh.
That's significantly better than I thought it was.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just using it to negate crap in battle.
I mean, that's good too, but like the fact that you can just do it once and have it sit on Sheol for the rest of the game, like that seems pretty good. So
Thank you for that nugget.
there you go. The more you know.
All right, well, get you some dinner.
Yep. All right, we'll catch you later.
See ya.